we're going to continue to describe parabolas. And given certain pieces of information, we can actually develop an equation for that parabola. And so that's what we're going to do now. Now, one of the really important things to know is that the vertex of any parabola is actually the same as the HK value. Okay? And that's something we'll come back to a little bit more in this unit and the next. But we need to be aware that the vertex tells us what the H and K values actually are. So we know in example A here that it's compressed by a factor of 0.5. Okay, well, compression deals with the A value. So if it's compressed by a factor of 0.5, then it's 0.5. If it opens upwards, then that's a positive thing for A. So the A value is actually positive 0.5. Our H value, if we know that the vertex is at 5, 0, the vertex is at positive 5. Okay, so that means that the H value is positive 5. And that means then that the K value is at 0. Okay, so it actually happens right on the x-axis. Okay, so what we know then is that the equation for this particular parabola, we know the A value. So the A value is going to be positive 0.5. And since we know that the H value is positive 5, we have to write that the opposite way. Okay, so instead of writing H or x plus 5, it's actually going to be x minus 5 all squared. Okay, so again, we're writing this always in the form y is equal to a x plus h squared. Okay, and we'll deal with adding in the k value in the next lesson. So for part B, we know that it's stretched by a factor of 5. So that means the a value is 5. If it opens downwards, that means that it's actually negative 5. And the vertex is at negative 3, 0. So based on the fact that the h value of the vertex is the same as the x value of the vertex, then the h value is negative 3, and the k value is 0. Okay, so using our basic form of the equation, then we can substitute in our values for a, h, and k. So y is going to be equal to negative 5 times x, in this case, plus 3. Okay, so even though the h value is negative, that means that in the equation it shows up as positive. Okay, that's the trick. Okay, the h value is the opposite of what it shows up in the equation. So if you know what the value of h actually is in the equation, you have to change the sign. For C here, it says that it's stretched by a factor of 2. So that means that the a value is 2. It opens upward. So because it opens upward, that means that it's positive 2. And if it says that the vertex is on the x-axis, then it hasn't moved either to the left or to the right. So in this case, actually, the h value is 0. Okay, and the k value is going to be 0 as well. So in this instance, the equation is going to be y is equal to 2x squared. Okay, or you could also write that as y is equal to 2x minus 0 squared. Okay, those two things are equivalent; they mean the same thing. But the example here on the left, y equals 2x squared, is just a little shorter to write. Okay, and then finally, as a bit of a challenge, we've got that a parabola that has been stretched by a factor of 3. So that means that the a value is 3. We know that it opens upward. Okay, it says that the vertex is at 0, 7. Okay, and based on what we know about the vertex being the same as the hk values, that means that the h value, That means that the h value is 0, and the k value is actually positive 7. So we can, again, substituting this into what we know of the equation, this is actually going to be y is equal to 3x squared plus 7. Okay? And we'll talk about how to get to those points, or that particular piece, in a little more detail in the next lesson.